Reserve assets are assets that are readily available to and controlled by monetary authorities like the Bank of Ghana or the International Monetary Fund for direct financing of payment imbalances. Ghana's reliance on exporting raw materials and importing finished goods contributed to the country's persistent demand for and less supply of foreign currencies. This is why, for a long time, Ghana's cedi has been depreciating against the other major trading currencies. The amount and composition of foreign exchange reserves have been at the center stage of central banks' management for decades. Factors that influence the composition of central banks' reserves include the changing patterns of international trade, institutional changes in the economy, and the structural shift in production. The need for central banks to always access and keep at least the minimum amount of reserves is fundamental to their duties as regulators, and a failure in keeping to the minimum reserves required could distort the smoothness of a country's trade when shocks hit the economy. This can also cause frequent instability in a country's currency as well as in other macroeconomic variables. Ghana's reserve adequacy assessment is fundamental to the stability of the economy. The vulnerability of the country to capital flight and trade imbalances is apparent in the large percentage of investments held by the country by foreigners. For example, the IMF Article 4 Consultation Report 2013 showed that foreign creditors own 1/3 of domestic government debt. This is notwithstanding the fact that the country's import far exceeds its export potential. A confluence of adverse development could therefore severely weaken the balance of payment position of the country. As of now, the benefit of the foreign exchange reserve for an economy where capital markets are well developed, both the private and public sectors could easily have access to foreign exchange or contingent borrowing in times of crisis to finance international transactions. Now, moving to where countries benefit, first of all, let's take a look at the petroleum importation. For example, Ghana's oil imports are handled by over 25 bulk oil distributors, BDCs. Therefore, access to hard foreign currency like the dollar is indispensable in facilitating trade, access to petroleum products on the international market, and all activities on the global trade. With enough reserves, the country will be able to sustain full supply needed to advance its industrialization agenda. Second, commodities exportation. Ghana has suffered from a long, narrow revenue base because of over-reliance on primary commodities traded in its raw state without further processing. Higher reserves are required to smooth the trade processes. A country's need for reserves is mostly associated with the degree of openness or exposure to external fluctuations, and Ghana's economy is hugely vulnerable in this regard. According to the Bank of Ghana, the gross international reserves at the close of December 2021 was $9.7 billion, which later declined to $7.68 billion at the close of June 2022. There was also a shortfall in terms of net international reserves, which stood at $6.08 billion as at the close of December 2021 and has further declined to $3.58 billion as of June 2022. My name is Winston Tackie, and that is it on Bank of Ghana's reserves.